Good afternoon and welcome back to Coffee Talk. Today's topic is a continuation of the subject matter that we've been dealing with for the last few weeks. We're dealing with this concept of Middot and how we allow our Middot to influence us, impact us, determine how we respond in circumstances. And the Midah that we're doing today is, thank you very much. The midah that we are doing today is called kavod, honor. And it is not something that is easily understood. It is something that requires a tremendous amount of effort. And you'll see that by the end of today, hopefully you'll have a bit more clarity as to how this particular trait operates. So if you don't have your sheets in there, I have them over here. I'm going to put them in the group. Last week someone said, why don't you just add them to the group? I'm going to share my screen. For those of you that are watching here, I'll add the notes to to a link where you could download it and see it as well. Okay, Gemara says as follows. We have a quote over here, Talmud Yevamot. Rabbi Akiva had 12,000 pairs of students. All of them died in the weeks between Passover and Shavuot because they did not show kavod. There was no kavod to one another. Now this is a very profound statement that the Gemara makes. We're talking about the death of 24,000 people, okay, that died in within a very short period of time. And they died because of lack of honor. Like, is honor that important? Well, let me remind you about something that happened only 48 hours ago. Maybe more. Maybe it was 72 hours ago. It was on a Sunday night. It was a Monday night where at the Academy Awards ceremony you had a comedian named Chris Rock making jokes about Jada Pinkett Smith, who was Will Smith's wife. I thought it was a very light part of joke. And he was only referencing it wasn't even like an insult. She had a short haircut, and he was referencing a movie called G.I. Jane, and said that, G.I. Jane 2, she would cast very well for that. It was like a cutesy thing to say. It was not an insult. It didn't have to be taken as an insult. We see him laughing, and then a few minutes later, he comes onto the stage, walks over to the comedian, and then just whacks him across the face. And walks around, sat down, and then made sure that everyone understood that you keep my wife's out of your dirty mouth, and he said it a couple of times to let everyone know that he was upset. Okay, this is a expression of kavod breaking down, right? If Will Smith would have had some integrity and some decency inside of him, he would have recognized, by the way, Chris Rock is at a new level in my book. The fact that he took it and he did not make an issue out of it, and the fact that he continued, giving the class and running the show without stopping, showed you how much of a mensch the man is, right? He has a foul mouth, but regardless, he is someone who is continue the show. Why? You see, Will Smith felt the courage to get up and smack Chris Rock simply because, you know what? There's no chashivut. There's nothing important about him. The way kavod works is like this. When you have a scenario where individuals no longer see the value in another person, you can get up and say whatever you want to them. I could smack them. I can go ahead and ignore them. I could do whatever I want. It does not matter, right? This is the challenge of this generation. Yeah, no, he knew. He did it on purpose, but it comes from something much deeper. It wasn't the fact that he purposely got up to smack someone else. It comes from his inability to see the beauty of a person. What does it mean to have kavod for someone else? Does that mean that when I see someone, I stand up? What does it mean to have honor? What does honor mean? What do we want as Jews? We say, give that person kavod. What are we talking about? Okay. It's that, but it's more than that. So we have a pasuk over here in Vayikra. It says, Lo tasu avel b'mishpat, lo tisa panai dal, lo tithadar panei gadol, but tzedek tishpot amitecha. Don't do any kind of injustice in your judgment. don't favor the poor, don't honor the great, judge your fellow man justly. What is the pasuk talking about? How do we judge people in a way that is somewhat, sorry, this is too high, I see it's not straight, and it's because the table is not straight, but I'll try to fix it up later. It's what does the pasuk want? What is God telling us to do in this pasuk? He says over here, don't favor the poor and don't honor the great. Judge your fellow man justly. How do I judge my fellow man justly? How do I do that? What is the process of judging someone favorably? How do I do this? How do I fulfill this particular commandment over here? How do I do that? Okay, so now I would say like this. When the Gemara talks, when the pasuk talks about judging people, it has to do how we perceive them. Perception is everything. Okay, it is everything. Now, I have two choices. I could look at a person and say, oh wow, that person, they came late because they're a lazy bum. That person came late because they don't machshiv the things that I'm providing for them. That is not the way we're supposed to look at individuals. Being dan l'kav zchut, giving people the benefit of the doubt, is a part of it, but it's something much more profound than just giving someone the benefit of the doubt. Okay, let's go through the story over here. This is a cautionary tale. Okay, there's a story of a mashgiach, of a kosher. He's the person who makes sure that the food is kosher in the processing plant. Okay, he was going to his job. Okay, for years without any kind of issues, and one day the boss pulls him aside and says, "Listen, there's one of the employees who saw someone come into the kitchen to look into the pots and read the label, the ingredients. There's someone coming into the plant looking at all these things." And the mashgiach was somewhat flustered. He's like, "Who's coming into the plant looking at all these things? Who's doing this? This is not this work. This is my job. This is my responsibility, right?" Someone's looking for trouble, right? So he says, listen, the correct thing to do was for that person to come and talk to me. My job is to be the mashgiach. If anyone has a problem with the ingredients, they got to come to me. Anyway, so sometimes that's part of it also. Some time passes, and then again, the boss comes to the mashgiach and says, by the way, it happened again. This intruder came back and looked around at everything in the kitchen. And now the mashgiach was very, very upset. He's like, one time he comes snooping, okay, but the second time, right? Then he hears about a third time this guy comes back again to the processing plant, and now he's upset, right? He says this guy who's coming around, this kid says is no better than a thief, okay? Maybe even worse, right? He's just trying to ruin my reputation. He wants to go ahead and, God forbid, create trouble for me. He's going to ruin this in my family. So the next time he comes to the factory, the boss comes again and says, before he can even say a word, the mashgiach stops him, and he's already, this guy can't believe he's still coming here. This sidewinding, individual. He's less than the worm of a human being, right? He's going to have the worst place in Gehennom, right? This guy has no good fate, nothing ready for him. And the boss says, hold on. We figured out who this person is. We figured out who this person is who's poking around. He's like, do you want to know who it is? You know who this person is? Right? So he said there was an employee who was telling us all these things. He was newly hired here, okay? And he didn't know who you were. So he reported this suspicious individual the whole time was you. He kept seeing you looking around at all the pots and the pans and you're doing your job. But he didn't know who you were, so he reported you as the person that was snooping around. So the boss was laughing. Ha 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 ha, it was you the whole time. But he didn't understand why the mashgiach wasn't joining in on the laugh. Right? Mashgiach had created in his own mind and reviewing all the curses, all the frustration he was giving to this person, when really the whole time it was towards himself. And he was thinking, wow, what if all my curses to myself come true? How we look at a situation is everything, my friends. How we are able to internalize what we see around us is everything. Okay? We all too often have this tendency to undermine, unwarranted and destructive judgment. Right? We do it all the time. We And it comes from this inability to practice kavod. If we are unable to issue honor, if we are unable to recognize that people are people and they really want to do their best, okay, you're gonna find frustration everywhere you go in life. Every situation, every corner of the world that you go to, you'll find yourself dealing with some sort of stress. Why? Because of your inability to see that a person has the power of making mistakes, but more importantly, that they really don't have any ill will. They're not here to create negative tension and stress in your lives. Why can't we judge people favorably? Obviously, in a situation where someone is bad and evil, then do whatever you can to stay away from that person. But until they've until we have evidence of that type of behavior, you got to give them the benefit of the doubt. Okay, so we have over here Perkei Avot. We have another source over here in Perkei Avot. Perkei Avot says as follows. Source says as follows. Okay, we say that judge everyone favorably or dan lakav zchut, which is often interpreted as giving the benefit of the doubt. But it actually demands more than that of us. To be dan lakav zchut means that even if we see behavior which is clearly improper, we should still try to look for mitigating factors or positive aspects which might be present. Our task is to take into consideration all the factors that are in play for that person. And if we do, we're bound to turn up some redeeming virtues, since no one is bereft of at least some good quality. Okay, so what does that mean over here? Right, we're talking about this idea of recognizing that people have something called Etzel Elohim. If Rabbi Akiva's students, who were these amazing scholars, would stop for a moment and recognize that each of their friends was an expression of God, that each of those people had something called a dveikut b'Hashem, they had a connection to the Almighty, they would never have disrespected their fellow friend. Where does disrespect come from? When you disrespect someone, it comes from thinking a couple of things. One is that you're a lowlife. My outrage of your traits, my disgust, okay, allows me to do things to you, to disrespect you in ways that I should not be able to do.
Sometimes jealousy.
It's lots of things, right? But all of that, jealousy is part of it. Part of it is not having clarity. Part of it is being somewhat sheltered and not understanding the full picture. You know, I often say that the word ayin hara comes to the word ayin singular, not einayim harim, right? If you had harot, you don't have, if you have full vision, you can't give someone an ayin hara because you're seeing the whole picture, right? But when we live in a world which is often myopic, we're only looking through one lens, it's so easy to see the worst in people. I want to be dan lakav zchut of Will Smith's, smack. I want to be able to give him the benefit of the doubt.
But it's not easy.
I can't do it because he didn't apologize right afterwards. And then when he issued an apology, it was 24 hours later, and it's all because, for sure he'll do it again.
He has done it before.
Oh, I mean, I know he has done it before, but that's a person who allows his emotions to define him. You have two choices. You could allow your emotions to refine you. What does that mean, to refine you?
Do better.
Because you feel angry right now, but why should I feel angry right now? He made a silly joke. I need to take this and recognize that my anger is coming from a lower place inside of me, and I want to use this anger as a way to refine myself, to recognize my own flaws. But instead, what did he do? He allowed his anger to define him.
I don't think he was actually angry.
You don't think he was angry?
I think he knew the world was watching him, and he knew that his marriage was in the spotlight, and he wanted to look like the good husband, and that's why.
I don't think he looked good at all over there.
No, he means.
I don't know. It could be that's what he was thinking. But again, for me, it doesn't matter. The fact that within a few seconds he made a calculated decision to get up on stage and smack someone across the face, right?
No, because he felt that Chris Rock was making fun of his wife's medical condition.
Yeah, but
She had that for her.
he wasn't making fun of her medical condition. Actually, he was noticing her short haircut would allow her to play a role in a movie with with a GI Jane. It was a famous story of a woman who was struggling taking on a masculine role as a woman in the army, right?
I think it was a surface level joke.
Yeah, it was a total surface level joke. It was total external. It wasn't so bad. And I don't believe Chris Rock knew that she was going through anything. And if he would have known, he seems to be the kind of person that's smart enough not to say something like that. But we live in a world where everyone, first of all, knows that when you're going to the academy, you're sitting in the front, you're going to get roasted.
Yeah.
Like, that's just a fact. That everyone knows. They're told beforehand, like, you're going to get made fun of. That's just the way it is. But we can't live in a world where we have moral outrage at a comedian, right? And again, the point of me mentioning that, I don't want it to be about him, because it's not. It's more about this idea of who's in control, right? When we see someone say something that's negative like that, right? Or if you interpret it as a super negative, then you can't allow the emotion to define you. The emotion defined him for several reasons. One is because he's not in control. B is because for him, he did not see any redeeming quality in Chris Rock. And that therefore he needs to be reprimanded. I'm going to give this guy chinuch. You're going to do this to me and my family, I'm going to smack you across your face. And and not like that, what was worse for me wasn't even the smack. It's one thing to smack someone and then say, like, wow, I'm sorry I did that. But then to sit down and to swear across the room and scream at someone from your seat like a barking dog, okay, shows how unrefined this person is.
Chris Rock showed how refined.
100%. He's a gever. Chris Rock is a gever in my book. Anyway, so the idea of kavod already comes from this concept of recognizing that each person we are responsible to give that person honor. Meaning, honor doesn't come from, oh wow, well, look at that guy, he makes so much money, he's a star, right? Kavod comes from not the other person demanding it. It has to come from me providing it. Honor does not come from chitzoni things. It's supposed to come from pnimi things. It's got to come from me, my inner desire to treat each person like they are tzel melokim. If I recognize that each person has value, how can I not offer them honor?
It said in the Mishnah, kavod, motzi et
The
adam
kina, motzi et adam.
me'amakom.
Right, so we're going to see that, right? Honor, respect, and dignity are due. Look at number 6. I'll pull it up for you people that are here with me. Okay. It says over here, honor, respect, and dignity are due to each and every human being, not because of the greatness of their achievements, nor how well they are behaved, but because they are home to a soul that is inherently holy. Nobody created their own soul. Everybody has been gifted with a rarefied essence. One should honor all people simply because they are the handiwork of God. This idea was at the forefront of what made America so special, right? That each person was created in the image of God. It got rid of slavery. It brought equality to women, right? That is a powerful idea that Jews have always been preaching for so long. The idea of even having a slave in Judaism, we say that, kaneh, eved, no. When you acquire a slave, you acquire a master, right? When you acquire an eved, koneh rabo, you acquire a master over yourself. Why? Because in Jewish law, if I have a slave, I can't eat before he eats. If I have a slave and I have a pillow, I can't use. I only have one pillow. He has to get the pillow. Does that sound like a slave to you? I got to feed him, clothe him, and provide for his comforts before my own? It sounds like I'm acquiring a master. But this is how we extend ourselves as people. That slave is vulnerable. As Jews, we need to understand this more than any other people. We have been more vulnerable than anyone else. We have been mistreated and misunderstood and been accused of all sorts of things. It's a chutzpah for us not to be dan l'kav zchut. We want the world to treat us fairly. How are we treating the other people around us? Am I opening myself up to the potential of saying, hey, this person is special, I can't have those negative thoughts right now? I'm not going to allow myself to see the negative in this person?
Then what's your answer to Jews who give so much tzedakah and in the class 2 weeks ago, 90% of Jewish tzedakah doesn't even go to Jewish causes.
Right, yes.
And we're doing such good, and yet no one is in our corner when it
Because
comes
we're
to
not doing it for other people. This reminds me of another situation. Like I'm dealing with someone who's doing something, he's got like some family drama, and he's willing to save the family and help the family, okay? But it's not altruistic. It comes with a condition. I want this so you can do this for me.
Yeah, but those Jews I don't think they're giving tzedakah with the purpose of helping Israel.
No, it doesn't matter from us
Or
what they're.
favorable outcomes with the rest of the
It doesn't
life.
matter, meaning that most of the charity, you're right, most of the charity that's being given is so they could put their name on a college or in a hospital. It doesn't matter.
Okay, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Most of the big money, when we say that only 7% of Jewish money goes to Jewish causes, in America, only 7% of Jewish charity goes to Jewish causes. Of all the money that's being given, only 7% goes back to Jews. That's it. Right? We're talking about 93% of where is it going to? It's going to universities, it's going to hospitals, museums, Save the Whales, Save the Panthers. It's real, right? Now, it's not there to help them per se. They're giving charity. It's a nice thing to do. But the point is, again, is how are we interpreting our world? Kavod is about how do we interpret humanity. What if you notice that someone
Running for kavod, kavod running from you.
yeah, it's got to come from you.
Running from you.
Oh yeah, if you run, yes, that's true also. We're going to get to that. Someone asked you a question. He said, what if you notice that someone did some actions towards you and that you felt sorry, and that I don't know why I can't read this, and to you they have lost value. Do you still need to honor them in the same value as before? Now, do we always need to take the lighter road? Not saying an eye for an eye, but just, okay, fine, yes. That's a great question. So, I think you should give that's exactly what I'm saying. I'm saying that you should give that person the benefit of the doubt, right? That when someone walks in late, they're probably very busy doing a lot of things. Right? And that yes, that we should take the lighter road. We should never start assuming the worst. We should always give. That's what kavod is. The kavod of dan l'kavzchut, of giving person the benefit of the doubt, comes from not just, oh, I gotta be nice. No, that's my unique way of honoring you as a human being.
If you deserve it.
Okay, well, most
Not
people.
deserve it, no.
Okay, so how do you determine if someone doesn't deserve it? What has to happen for someone not to deserve your honor?
You can spot it.
Does
You can
Will
tell.
Smith get honor? So that's a good question, right? Now, if it's repetitive, then the answer is no. If someone's doing something repetitively negative to you, then you get away from that person. Okay, I'm not saying you forever, tolerate someone's abuse. God forbid. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying at the very first time, you know what? Maybe Will Smith maybe he has mental condition. Maybe he's a little bit chemically imbalanced. Maybe he's manic depression. Maybe he had a bad day. Maybe he himself found out he had something. Maybe.
You don't have to suffer because he has.
I'm not saying you have to suffer. I'm just saying the question is what happens next. Okay, he got up, he smacked Chris Rock. Okay, what's Chris Rock gonna take revenge now? Nekama. I'm gonna come back and smack you. You smack me, I'm gonna smack you. I'm gonna say whatever I want to say. It's a free country. Don't tell me what to do. Like, how do we play the game? And this is very important. We need to allow the process of things to evolve on their own. And therefore, someone does something once, okay, I could forgive them. They made a mistake. They slipped up. They weren't thinking straight. They had a bad day. They didn't take into account all of the different parameters of what they were dealing with. They weren't thinking. It was fast, poor judgment, whatever it is. I can forgive you once. Because of kavod, habriot, right? I can go ahead and give honor to people because of they're creatures of God. Second time, I don't have to mistreat you. I could ignore you. And I want to keep my distance from you. I don't want to be around you anymore.
That's the best.
That's the best.
Yeah.
The second time for me, it's once. You get one free pass.
That's what I'm doing.
One free pass. Second time, nice knowing you. Goodbye, good luck. I'm not interested I don't want to be around you. I don't want to take the chance. I'm too busy. I have too much going on for me to worry about someone coming along and doing something negative to me. I don't want that. I have no responsibility of going out of my way to be in a position where I'm going to get hurt. Right? But if most of us are not even there, by the way, 99% of the people that we know are not even in that category. 99% of the people you know are not in the category of hurting you. But how often are we in the category of not being down the kafzchut? How often are we in a position where we're judging someone? We're making a call about their actions, their thoughts, their intentions. This plays out so wonderfully in relationships. For me, when I first got married, my wife's from Cleveland, Ohio. She grew up in Cleveland. I'm from Brooklyn, New York. The culture couldn't be more different. Just being a New Yorker and her being a Midwesterner. I'm fast-paced. There's 2 speeds in New York. It's fast and get out of my way, right? And in Ohio, I remember many years ago when I was going around the country looking at different rabbinical positions. My first stop was in Atlanta, Georgia. Right, and I got there early. I got an early flight, and I walked into like some grocery store to get some breakfast, and everything was on slow motion for me. Everyone was walking slowly. Everyone spoke slowly. Hi, good morning. I'm like, oh my Lord, I can't have those. I got to get out of here. People are way too cheery, too happy. They speak too slow for me. So I couldn't live down south for that reason. I love being where I am, but my wife and I very different. Now, one of the hardest things in a relationship is how we interpret another person's intentions. Oh, you told me I thought you were gonna make breakfast today. I thought you were gonna wash the floor today. She's talking to me. I thought you were gonna put away this. Why did you leave your socks out? So when we first got married, I always had cold feet, not metaphorically, literally. I still have, my feet are cold right now. And I don't know, it's just cold in here. I would often get into bed I would wear my socks until I got into bed, right? I would wear my socks, I'd put on socks, I always put on socks, my feet are always cold. And I'd take off my socks right before I got into bed because I don't want my socks in my bed, right? And then the next morning, I would have a pair of socks beside my bed because I'd get dressed and I wouldn't use those socks. So my wife saw this and she's like, I can't believe he's leaving his socks there. He thinks that I'm his maid, that I'm gonna go ahead and pick up his socks, right? And I'm like, and she got mad at me. She's like, who do you, I came home, she was like very upset. I'm like, why are you so upset? She said, well, you keep leaving your socks there for me. I'm like, I never left my socks there for you. I'm like, my feet are cold and I forget my socks in the morning. I will pick it up. I've never lived with someone before where it became an issue. If you're super sensitive about socks, why don't you just tell me that the socks bother you and I'll be more conscientiously aware of moving them? But it wasn't my intention there to leave it there for her to pick up. She saw that as an act of, it's a misunderstanding, but instead what could have happened was, hey, by the way, I noticed you keep leaving your socks there. I'm not sure if you recognize this, but they drive me crazy. I feel like you're leaving there for me to pick them up for you. I'm like, no, I would have said no. Right? And another example was I grew up in a home where we had like a 5-course breakfast every single day as a family. Right? I'm talking about like everything in the morning, like fish, eggs, salatim, blintzes, everything. Like my mother would wake up and she would make things like I would wake up to the smell of breakfast being made in the morning as a kid. Yeah, so that's how my wife grew up. So anyway, I got married. I'm thinking I can't wait to get married and have a breakfast with my wife. Come over to Knesset, and my wife is still sleeping. So I wake her up, hey, Danny, let's have breakfast. It's not a problem, whatever it is. She's like, I'll make breakfast. I'm like, amazing. So she's like, okay, let's go. And I sit down at the table, and she puts a bowl with a spoon in front of me. So I'm like, what are we having? And then she pulls out a box of Cheerios, right? I'm like, what are we doing? She's like, we're having breakfast. I'm like, cereal's not breakfast. Cereal's a snack you have after breakfast, but that's not breakfast, right? So it was frustrating, right? Now, my response was, this is ridiculous, right? I've been hoodwinked and bamboozled. This is mekach ta'ut, as they say, right? This was a different culture, a different upbringing, and I understood that. Now, it was important for me, for my children, to have more than just cereal for breakfast. So now I have 2 choices. Either I could try to, influence my wife and get her to make me breakfast, right? The breakfast that I want, which I knew was never going to happen. Or I had to do it myself, right? But then I had to decide whether or not this was something that I was going to fight for. How important was it for me to make this part of my ritual? And it wasn't that important. I wasn't willing to fight for it. Because I understand that she's different than me. That came from my ability to recognize her as a human being, being different than me as a human being. I was able to be dan l'kaf zchut. So I didn't make it into an issue. Who makes breakfast now when I'm home? I do. And my kids know I make the best breakfasts. I make the omelets, I make the toast, I make the hash browns, I do the whole spiel because that's something that I found, it was a memory I wanted them to have of their dad, who's, thinking about.
What do you leave it for your wife to clean up?
What's that?
Who cleans up?
That's a good question. She does clean up. I'll tell you what I do. I make sure that everything is in the sink, right? I don't leave anything that's not in the sink. For her, she does clean up. She won't let me clean up because she doesn't like the way I clean up. She thinks that she has a little bit of OCD, so she likes things to be clean on a certain standard that I'm not willing to adhere to. Okay, so she understands that there's certain things that she's going to do. It's fine. It's a good partnership. I'll do certain things. She'll do certain things. But if I've tried cleaning them in the past, I don't mind cleaning up the mess. But it's not going to be to her standard. Anyway, Kitsur, what am I getting at over here? I'm getting at the fact that when we talk about honoring, respect, giving people dignity, when we talk about that, it comes from my responsibility to give that person honor and dignity. My responsibility to give that, how I perceive that person, that has to come from me. Not the other way around. Oh no, I need to respect her because she does so much for me. That's true also. But more than the things that someone else does for you, it's all about what you do for them. How you are bringing kavod to the table for that other person. That matters more. Okay, let's look at the next source here. Tomer Devorah. We're on page number 2 at the bottom. Tomer Devorah says as follows. So too should a person improve his conduct towards others. For even if he could not find a reason for showing love and compassion, he should say, there was surely a time when they had not yet sinned, and in that time or in former days they were worthy. For their sake, he should recall the love of those just weaned from milk and who were torn away from the breast. This way, he will not find a single person unworthy of kindness, prayers, or compassion. And that means that, like, you see a newborn baby, okay, doesn't have any negative traits. You can't get mad at a baby, right? You don't get mad at a baby because you recognize they're pure. They know what they're doing. If we are able to give people that kind of the benefit of the doubt, right, we live in a very different kind of world. Rabbi Akiva's students would not have passed away. They would not have been destroyed, not have been killed, not have been in a place where, God forbid, we bring so much negativity to the world. The negativity in the world comes from this. Putin could not have invaded Ukraine if he didn't see the value of the Ukrainian people as being created with Tzelem Elokim. Doesn't work. You can't do it. To displace 50 million people, it's insane what's happening right now in the world. It's so sad. But where does it come from? It comes from throughout history. Rulers believed they were greater than the peasants. Rulers believed that they were gods and they could do whatever they want. But as Jews, we reject that notion. It doesn't matter if you're a king. The king in Judaism is a servant of the people. Right? He can't do whatever he wants. He can't even make new laws. The king, the Jewish king, is someone who has to enforce the laws. He can't say whatever he wants. He can't do whatever you need. He can only go ahead and give over what God wants him to give over. Period. So when we talk about the ultimate position of authority and kavod, what is he? Nothing but an eved. He's a slave. This will help you understand a little bit on Pesach when we say that we are bnei chorin, that we are free people. Are we really free? With all the commandments and all the responsibilities that we have as Jews? I would say freedom is an illusion. There's no such thing as true freedom. You see, the one thing that Jews have realized very early on is that you're going to be a slave to something in this world. You're going to be a slave to fashion, you're a slave to your job, you're going to be a slave to society, culture, you're going to be a slave to your family, you're going to be a slave to all sorts of things, no question about it. But in truth, Yeah? We need to become a slave to something that sets us free. What sets me free? Borei Olam sets me free. God sets me free. How does he set me free? He sets me free because he helps me articulate and understand my unique mission here. As children, we're born selfish. All I can think about is me. It's all about me. Me, 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 me. Every stage, even fighting for independence, for your identity as a teen, is about you. It's hard. But what's meant to happen is that we're meant to evolve into beings that are aware that my happiness, my ability to achieve greatness is very much tethered into the humanity. I need to be part of a kihila, a community. I need to be part of a family. I need to have good friends. I need to have good teachers. I need to have good mentors. I need to have people that are going to inspire me to become better. I can't do it alone. Human beings cannot survive on their own. Isolation, being put in solitary confinement, will destroy you psychologically. Breaks people down, not having stimuli from other people. We are social animals. We need to be around people. And since we're such socially wired to be interconnected, the rules that we set of how we engage with other people are so darn important. And we live in a society which completely disregards this today. There is no regard for respect for anyone today. It's irrelevant. I had a girl at my house Shabbat table a few weeks ago. She's not Jewish. She is comes from Ukraine. Okay, she wasn't. She's been here for several years already. She has a cousin who is Jewish, and she wanted to come for Shabbat. So she made a statement, and I made a counter to the statement, and that was it. My wife told me after the meal that the girl came over to her and told her that she disagreed with me. And she wanted her to tell me why she disagreed with me. She didn't do it in public. I would have I have people doing it all the time. They did, "Oh, Rabbi, what do you mean? I have nothing about it. It says this. I just Googled it. You're wrong." I have that all the time, right? And this immigrant girl recognized that her own view, her own perspective, while it's important, right, wasn't more important than saying something that may have insulted me publicly, right? That's profound, right? What a level of respect. This is a common theme as Jews. We often learn certain expressions of kavod, specifically honoring our parents from goyim. And here's another example of a non-Jewish person at my table who had more kavod than most of the people who have ever come to my house. A level of sensitivity. You know what? I can say that Will Smith could have easily have waited till after the awards, come over to him and say, "Listen, I don't know what you said, but it was really disgusting. My wife is going through this treatment. You owe her an apology." That could have been beautiful. What a beautiful display of character, of refinement. But getting up like that and airing out your dirty laundry on a public stage is disgusting. 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 So what is the avodah over here? What are we meant to do? Okay? So these classes are not just classes to share random ideas. The classes over here are really meant to help you get to think a little bit deeply, a bit more profoundly about how we can elevate our souls and becoming greater human beings. So we know that on the second night of Pesach, we start something called the Omer, right? And the Omer is a particular korban. It's a sacrifice that is offered in the temple for 50 days, 49 days, until Shavuot. Well, what is the Omer? What does Omer mean?
Bunch of wheat.
Barley.
Barley, wheat.
Oh, don't say it. Barley and wheat are very different.
Yeah.
Okay? Why is barley and wheat so different? It's interesting because for 49 days we bring barley as a sacrifice, as an offering, right? But on Shavuot we bring wheat. The Chachamim tell us that barley is feed that's designated for animals. We used to use, if you were a farmer, you would not use wheat for your cattle. You use barley. Okay, it's less refined. The grade is less refined than wheat itself. So we save the wheat for the humans.
It's Omer Searim.
Yeah, it is Omer Searim, but Omer first
It's Bargain Searim.
for Shavuot, right? So you have like this. We're entering in a time of a calendar where certain kochot emerge, right? Which means that in the month of Nisan, there is a flaw of our relationship between Ben Adam Lechavero. There's a flaw. It's not an accident that his students died between the second night of Pesach and the Lag BaOmer. Not an accident. That means that this time of the year, the springtime, is when we need to start working on being Dan Lekaf Zchut. It's a time where we're supposed to have something called Ahavat Chinam. Not Sinat Chinam. Not basis hatred, but free love. Right? Recognizing that we are meant to love every single human being. That's what this time of the year is. So how do I prepare for it? You're not going to walk out of here today and say, wow, that's it. I'm changing my mind. Every time I see someone, I'm going to give everyone the benefit of the doubt. You know what's going to be happening? You're going to walk outside, you're going to have a cab driver cut you off, and you're going to give him the middle finger, and you're going to swear at him, and you're going to fail immediately. This happened to me yesterday. I was putting a letter in the mailbox, and my AirPod fell out of my ear, and it bounced into the street, and a car whoosh, ran right over it. Now, at first I'm like, that guy, I can't believe it. He didn't see it jump out of my ear. I thought he could have stopped the car, but instead he just kept going. But I'm Dan Lekaf Zchut that he didn't see it. And that had he known, he would have been upset. He would for sure short stopped and stopped.
Thank God he missed you, right?
What's that?
Thank God he missed you. He got your.
Yeah. Baruch Hashem, right? So he again, it's our choice, right? How we respond is everything, okay? So this is the avodah. The avodah for you is as follows. Think of someone whom you tend to have a negative appraisal of, right? Think of someone who just always annoys you, okay? You could have trouble finding only one person. Some of us have lots. That's too hard, Rabbi. I have so many people that drive me crazy. But just pick one of all the many people that drive you insane, okay? And this person often gets the most negative judgment, right? It could be someone who irritates you in the workplace, or even someone who you'd consider an enemy, whoever that person is, okay? More likely, though, that the people who we tend to judge most harshly are those who are closest to us, like your children, spouse, friends, and so on and so forth. Now, once you've identified said person, I want you to close your eyes and then visualize his or her face. Internalize it. See the person clearly in your mind's eye, okay? Once you've done that, let that image become strong enough that is the only thing that you are able to see in your inner mind's eye, your inner screen. Spend a few minutes making that image more vivid, bringing it to your mind greater and greater concentration. Next, after you've identified a strong image of that person, bring it into your mind, bring this thought into your mind, okay? He was once a baby, or she was once a baby. Surely it was a time that this person was young and innocent, and they didn't do anything negative, okay? There was no sin. Can you find that baby within that other person? That pure, innocent root, that pure person that did nothing wrong? Are you able to do that? Are you able to get yourself into a place where you could see that person as being free from any kind of guilt? Contemplate the baby face for several minutes until you feel that inner impression is super strong. Once that is there, all you have to do, that's all you got to do. Once that's there, that image will leave its trace on your soul. And therefore, every single time you see that person, it'll help you deal with them in a way that's more balanced. You gotta take control of how you see humanity. Don't be so quick to judge. If we want God to judge us favorably, at the very least we could do is judge other people favorably. Be Dan Lekaf Zchut. Give people the benefit of the doubt. Again, we live in a time in history where, you know, I was just telling this Rabbi Mizrahi's wife, Bezrat Hashem, is expecting, and her due date is soon. And I've heard like several people who are all due like around this time, and everyone's late. So I said to Rabbi Mizrahi, if I was a baby, I wouldn't want to come out into this world right now. We live in a crazy world. We live in a crazy time, right? But we say, Yafeh sha'achat ba'olam hazeh mikol olam haba. That one moment of life in this world is greater than all of eternity. This is the exact opposite of what our Muslim cousins say, right? That this world is just for them, and this world is just a way to get your 70 brides in heaven. That's where the real pleasure begins. We say the opposite. This world is a world of opportunity. What is the opportunity? The opportunity is recognizing your own unique flaws, recognizing your own chisronot, and choosing to overcome them. If you can do that, my friends, not only will you see the Tzelem Elokim in the people around you, but more importantly, you know what you'll begin to see? The Tzelem Elokim within yourself. You can't get up on a stage and smack them across the face if you don't think of yourself if you see yourself as being godly. You can't do that. You can't get up and swear in front of millions of people if you saw God's soul inside of you. It doesn't work like that. You do that because you believe on some level that you're nothing but an animal.
Thank God they were brothers.
Who's brothers? Oh, they were, yeah. A black on black. It's the first time you have a black on black crime.
They were friends.
They were friends. Yeah. It is what it is. But again, I think the idea is clear, right? What we saw on Monday was an expression.
It's not good for children.
It was on Sunday night? Whenever it was, Sunday night?
For children to see that.
Oh, it was horrible. It's horrible on so many levels. And it's forever.
Listen to Will Smith as the genie on Aladdin. You have to think, same person.
Why? He's a hero. He's portraying heroes. You know?
He apologized after on Instagram. He said he doesn't want to be that kind of person.
Yeah, the words are cheap. Yeah, I guarantee you that his publicist
Someone
wrote
wrote
that
it.
for him, and that you know, actions speak louder than words. You know, over here, especially, I would want to know more than that. I want to see. Can I tell you how I would know he did real teshuvah? If he got up and said, "I am consciously working on giving people the benefit of the doubt, and I'm not, and I recognize that what I did was wrong." And explain what he did, what was wrong. I should not allow my emotions to determine my actions. Get up and say that. Do that for a month.
You have to control yourself.
Do that for a month, and then I'll believe it maybe.
I saw that on a clip on the plane, and then it got cut off. I thought it was part of the comedy.
Right. Yeah, there are people that believe the whole thing was staged, and it definitely increased the viewership.
Chris Rock has become much more popular.
Oh, for sure, because he honestly, he was a mensch. I was so impressed with his response. All right, so let's just end with the following, okay? Ultimately, honor is something that we give to other people, not something that they impose on us. What is the core function of honoring human beings? That comes from our unique ability of seeing how they are uniquely special. If we can't see that,
If they're not special, can you respect them?
even someone like Will Smith can be respected. Now, I don't have to get up for him. I don't have to give him. Now the question, this is the question: do I give him more kavod than somebody else? That's the problem, right? I'm supposed to give everyone kavod, like the pasuk says. He deserves some level of kavod, no question about it. But what does a kavod lead me to? Right? All too often, when I don't give people kavod, you know what happens? I get frustrated. I get angry. I make mistakes. I make poor choices. Kavod is there not just for me to go ahead and to give other people, oh, I'm paying homage to you. That's not what kavod is for. Kavod is at the very least, the core of kavod is to give you the ability of recognizing that this person isn't so bad. And if I see them doing something bad, I should have the ability of being dan lekaf zechut. That's it. At the very least, that's what it's supposed to do. Should you offer someone a drink? Should you help someone cross the street? Should you help someone who's in need? Of course.
This is something else.
No, but that comes from kavod also. Not just...
It's nature. It's a good person.
I don't know. I don't think kavod is natural. It's unnatural.
People are running after the kavod.
Yes, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about getting kavod. I'm talking about giving kavod. There's a difference. There's a difference between me giving you kavod, right, as a person, and me
Somebody
demanding
can
kavod from you.
Can you give him kavod?
If someone did something bad to me,
Yeah.
yeah, of course.
Can you give him kavod?
Yes, I could.
You have to be a hero to do this.
Yeah, I'm not again.
No, you have to be.
You know,
Some
it's
without
it's a
feeling.
little bit like, turn the other cheek.
No, I'm not saying turn the other cheek. I'm not. I'm not saying turn the other cheek. I'm not saying that at all. I'm making it very clear that if someone has done something repeatedly to you, right? Then you have a responsibility to distance yourself from that person. Don't give them that over there. Being dan l'kaschut is a mistake. I'm not saying that. I'm saying for the first time you're seeing someone, you're meeting someone. That first impression is like, oh boy, here we do it all the time, right? We character type people. We put them into categories. It must be he's this, must be they're that. That's a mistake. That comes from our lack of understanding of humanity. It comes from our lack of seeing the beauty in a person. My job is to first see that each human being is special. That's what it means to have kavod habriot. To give honor to creatures, to humanity, means for me to recognize that person, every person in this room right now, every person watching, every person listening, has a unique expression of the divine. That you are infinite, that you are godly, that you are special.
Your special is unspecial.
No, I didn't say that.
Doesn't go like this.
No, everyone's special.
Not in my book.
Okay, that's your prerogative. But I think that you can have, I know you can have two special people. Because that means that you're saying that if you're married to a person, that only one of you can be special and both of you can't be special. Two people can be special. A group of people, a whole planet, we can have a planet of special people. Remember that Judaism does not believe in just saints, individuals who are great. That's not a Jewish concept. We believe in something called Mamlechet Kohanim, a nation of priests. A nation of people that are living in a priestly kind of way. I don't want individuals. I don't want to have one guy, the lone wolf, be the special person. I want a nation of great people. I want a kihila of people that are sensitive.
I want too, but you don't see it. But the realistic, you don't have it.
That doesn't mean you can't strive for it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're right. Practically speaking, it's very hard.
Yeah.
But if we don't create high standards for what we want from people and from ourselves, we're gonna end up with what we saw on Monday night. I don't want that. I want something much more profound for my people. I want something much more profound for humanity. The founding forefathers of this country understood that recognizing people's sovereign right is based on the idea of Tzelem Elokim, created equal under God. All human beings created equal under God. There is no difference. The only difference we create is ourselves. Oh, that person is black, that person's Chinese, that person is Jewish, that person is not Jewish. Okay? You know what? If you can't respect people from other races, I can understand why it's hard. It's culturally a little bit different. Is it wrong? Yes. But what about people from your own cultures, from your own people, right? Oh, that person's Moroccan. Oh, that person's this. That person's Persian. That person's Bahraini, Syrian, Afghani, whatever it is. We come up with all sorts of excuses that are negative. We buy into the negative stereotypes. All I'm saying is get rid of those stereotypes. And for when you're dealing with an individual for that first time, and there's no reason to assume that they're being negative, that they're bad, they're evil, they have malintent, give them the benefit of the doubt. And even if you do have someone who is super annoying, you could still give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm not saying when they're hurting you. I'm not talking in a situation where someone's coming out of the way, they're causing you pain.
Right.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the basic relationships that we have. Do whatever you can to be dan l'kaschut. When you do this, you change the world. We say, Rabbi Eliezer says, two things will bring people, save them from the birth pains of Mashiach. He says, Gemil Chasadim and Talmud Torah. Right? What does that mean? To be Gomel Chasadim.
Okay, Gomel Chasadim, it's fine.
Why? Do you choose?
Because
Are you going to discriminate against people that you don't like and not do chesed for them?
it's depend on the case.
Okay.
Depend. If they need it, so I'll do it. Out of my way.
In Israel, they have like open borders, they take care of different.
Again, all I'm saying is like this. For the purpose of this talk, and which I'm going to end right now, is that we want to create a world where we honor human beings. Don't focus on the one person that you can't stand that backstabs you. Think about all the other people that come before that person, that we're still doing the judgments on those people. Think of all the small people that we do it to, the guy at the grocery store, the person who you don't really know, but like, oh, I can't believe that guy did X, Y, and Z. Right? Think of all the small relationships that you have that we often think negatively of, and instead of thinking of them from a negative perspective, in a myopic perspective. Try to be a bit more expansive and broad-minded, and give them a little bit of kavod. If you could do this, not only will you find kavod in humanities, but more importantly, you'll find kavod in yourselves. Have an amazing day, everybody. Thank you so much for listening.